Ladders are a pretty common and useful fixture, both on and off the job. Most of us have probably used one or more types of ladders in our lifetime. You may feel familiar with and comfortable working with ladders, but there's more to working safely with ladders than just setting one up and climbing it. The tragic fact is, every year, 300 people are killed and 165,000 are injured while using ladders. That's about one death and 500 people injured per day. And recent studies show that those numbers are rising. So, obviously, there are some important safety considerations and techniques we all need to be very familiar with if we're going to use ladders. First of all, we need to know how to select the proper ladder. The two most common types of ladders are step ladders and straight ladders. Straight ladders can be a single length or an extension ladder. Those are the two types of ladders we will cover in this program. There are other types of ladders for specific uses, such as rolling ladders and multifunctional or articulated ladders. Those have their own set of safety precautions, and we cover those in other programs. Most step and straight ladders are made from wood, fiberglass, or aluminum. While having the benefit of being lightweight, aluminum ladders can conduct electricity, so never use an aluminum ladder if you are working near sources of electricity. Another important consideration is the length of the ladder needed. Many people are injured or killed each year working from a ladder that is too short for the task. We also need to make sure the ladder is strong enough for the workload. Ladders are classified by duty ratings, the amount of weight they are designed to carry. Ladder manufacturers are required to supply a label on each ladder indicating the ladder's duty rating. There are 5 categories of ladder duty ratings. Type 3, light duty, with support only up to 200 pounds. Type 2, medium duty, with support 225 pounds. Type 1, heavy duty, will support 250 pounds. Type 1A, extra heavy duty, will support 300 pounds. Type 1AA, extra heavy duty, will support up to 375 pounds. In addition to considering your own weight, you also need to include the weight of any tools, supplies, or materials the ladder may need to support while you're using it. Finally, consider whether using a ladder is the proper way to perform your task. If you are going to use heavy or awkward material or tools, or if you'll need to move from side to side, you should use a scaffold or lift instead of a ladder. If you can avoid using a very tall ladder by using a lift, by all means do it, if you have the proper training. The next step in using ladders safely is to inspect the ladder. Look for loose or worn rungs. Check the rails for cracks or corrosion. Make sure they are straight, not bowed or dented. Look for any loose or missing hardware, such as screws, bolts, or hinges. Check the rope on extension ladders. If it's frayed or damaged, don't use it. Also, make sure the extension locks are working correctly. Check the feet of the ladder and replace any worn or damaged feet or pads. On step ladders, make sure the spreaders are in good condition and locked securely. A step ladder should not wobble on a flat surface. Replace any damaged or missing labels and tag any damaged or defective ladder. Take it out of use immediately. And never paint a wooden ladder. Paint may hide defects. Okay, you've chosen the correct ladder for the job, and it's in good working order. Next, you need to get the ladder to the working area safely. Sounds simple. Not always. Carry your ladder by the side rail and horizontal to the ground. Both step ladders and extension ladders should be fully closed before carrying them. Don't hesitate to get help with long or heavy ladders. Don't drag a ladder on the ground or pavement. This can damage the feet and pads. When approaching blind corners, raise the forward end of the ladder if possible and move slowly. Carry extension ladders fully closed, not extended. Transporting ladders can be a hazard to other personnel and equipment, so take it seriously and do it safely. The next step is to set up your ladder correctly and safely. First, some general rules. Then we'll discuss setting up step ladders and extension ladders. First of all, look over your work location for potential hazards. Look for any overhead power lines or electrical sources. Stay at least 10 feet away from any electrical sources, unless, of course, you are authorized to work in the area, and have taken all necessary safety precautions. Clear away any debris, objects, or obstructions from the base of the ladder. Try to avoid traffic areas, vehicle or pedestrian traffic. If you have to work near other people, you may need to barricade the area or have a coworker stand by to alert others to the hazard of the ladder or the potential falling objects. If you must set up a ladder in front or near a door, make sure the door has been secured and have a coworker stand watch. The watch person should be able to redirect traffic if the door is an entrance or exit way. Step ladders are to be used only when open and stable. Don't use step ladders folded and leaned against a structure. The feet are designed to be flat on the floor while spread. Whenever possible, step ladders should be positioned so you face the ladder while working, not turning sideways. When using a tall step ladder, it is sometimes necessary to set it so it is parallel to the wall or surface you are working on. And never stand or climb on the backside of a step ladder. Extension ladders usually take more effort to set up than step ladders. First, position the feet of the ladder at the base of the structure. If that is not possible, have a person block the ladder with their feet. The lower or base section of the ladder should be on top, and the upper or fly section should be on the ground or pavement. Raise the ladder by walking forward, lifting the ladder rung by rung. If the ladder is too heavy for you, just reverse your movements and go get help. Next, move the ladder away from the structure to approximately the position it will be in when you are working on it. Raise the upper section by pulling the rope. You can stabilize it by putting a foot on the bottom rung and leaning it on your knee. Raise the ladder 3 feet higher than you plan to stand. If you are going to access a surface from the ladder, raise it 3 feet higher than that surface. When you get it to the height you need, relax the rope so the upper section drops slightly and the locking hooks engage and lock securely. Now, finish positioning the ladder so it sits at the correct angle. The base of the ladder should be 1 foot from the object it is leaning on for every 4 feet of height. Here's an example. The top of this ladder is 16 feet above the floor, so the base should be 4 feet from the wall. A good way to check this angle is to put your toes against the base of the rails and extend your arms towards the ladder. Your hand should just reach the ladder rungs. If your hands extend past the rungs, the ladder is too steep. If you can't reach the rungs, the ladder's angle is too shallow. Make sure the ladder is on firm and level footing. If the ground is soft, you can use a piece of plywood or large board. But don't use small pieces of lumber that may slip out of place. Why is it so important that the ladder is on level footing? Well, a 20-foot ladder that is out of level by 1 inch at the bottom will be out of plumb by 20 inches at the top, and very unstable. Use a level to check plumb if you don't have a good vertical reference. If you are accessing elevated surfaces such as a roof, the ladder should extend 3 feet above the roof line and, if possible, be tied off. This will help you get on and off the ladder at the elevated surface. But don't overextend the ladder. Pressure on the upper end could cause the feet to lift off. When your ladder is set properly, make sure your shoes or boots are clean. Make sure the rungs of the ladder are clean also. Put any tools you need in your tool belt or have someone hand them up to you if possible. Position your tool belt so it doesn't snag on the ladder as you climb. Hauling tools or parts up using a rope and bucket is another way to avoid carrying objects while climbing. You want to use 3 points of contact when climbing a ladder. This means having one hand and 2 feet, or 2 hands and 1 foot in contact with the ladder at all times. Grasp the ladder rungs with your hands when climbing. If your foot slips, the rungs are easier to hold onto than the side rails. And don't rush. Climb carefully and intentionally. Hurrying can cause the ladder to vibrate and lose stability. Climb down the ladder the same careful way you climbed up, facing the ladder and using 3 points of contact and taking your time. On extension ladders, be careful positioning your foot at the point that the rungs switch from double rungs to single rungs. If you must leave the ladder unattended for a while, it's a good idea to place a warning cone at the base to indicate it is in use. If you are finished using the ladder, put it in its approved storage area. It's important to avoid overreaching while on the ladder, either horizontally or vertically. Here's a simple rule to remember. Keep your belt buckle within the rails of the ladder. If you can't reach your work while adhering to the belt buckle rule, climb down and move your ladder. Another good rule is to keep your belt buckle below the top of the ladder. Ladders will have a sticker warning you to not use the top 2 steps of a step ladder or the top 3 rungs of a straight ladder. But using the belt buckle rule, no matter what step or rung you are on, is the safest way to ensure your balance and stability. Also, if you need to work with both hands on occasion, this allows you to use your body as the 3rd point of contact. If you can't reach your work while keeping your waist below the top of the ladder, you should use a taller ladder. A couple more points about working with step ladders. Never leave tools on top of a step ladder, and never climb the back side of a step ladder. Here are some additional tips for making a ladder stable. You can pound in stakes behind the feet of an extension ladder that's on soft ground, or make cleats if the ladder's on a wood surface. Turn up the feet on an extension ladder to allow them to dig into soft ground. Of course, never do this on smooth surfaces. The rubber feet provide grip on smooth surfaces. If possible, tie off the ladder to a sturdy, immobile object with a rope or strap. The higher the tie-off, the more stable the ladder will be. And of course, it's often helpful to have someone hold the ladder for stability. There are ladder accessories available to help stabilize your ladder. Ladder leg extenders and levelers can help when you are working on uneven ground. There are rail end covers that not only protect the surface the ladder rests on, but makes the ladder less prone to slip on smooth surfaces. And there are a variety of stabilizing bars that can attach to the upper area of your ladder. Besides the common step ladder, there are several types of step ladders such as platform ladders, which give you room to stand and move, and twin step ladders, which allow 2 people to work on opposite sides of the ladder. Ladders can be essential tools for getting some jobs done. So remember these 6 steps for safe ladder use. Select the correct ladder for the job. Inspect the ladder to make sure it's in proper working order. Transport it safely, for you, other workers, and for the integrity of the ladder. Set the ladder up correctly and be aware of hazards. Always use 3 points of contact when ascending and descending. Remember the belt buckle rule when working on the ladder. Don't overreach. Hey, we all want to get home safely after work or after doing a job around the house. Ladders add an extra element of risk to any job you're doing, since you're working at a height. And keep in mind that even falls from a relatively low height can have terrible consequences.
Many years ago, I was working with a carpenter getting ready to install some paneling on a room. And we had to level a line all the way around the room. And he was up on the second step of a step ladder, marking his line, and he was doing good, and then all of a sudden he was reaching over to one side. And I asked him if he needed a hand holding the level, and he said he had it. So I turned around, and just that instant, I heard a big crash, and he had stepped off and tried to jump, and he broke his heel, shattered his heel, and then as he fell down, he broke his right wrist in 7 places. Just in that short of a fall from 2 feet to the second step up on a step ladder. So that shows you you can't be too safe working on a step ladder. You have to be watching all the time.
So don't get complacent and don't take risks. The next time you grab a ladder to do a job, stop and think about what we've just covered. I think you'll be glad that you did.